They wanna wonder.
About 2 years ago, I was driving home from a family reunion pretty late at night. The drive was about 2 hours. I didn't stay the night because I had to be back for work the following day. Most of the drive was on road with dense bushes and trees on either side. You know, the real creepy ones you see in a lot of movies. Anyway, I'd been driving for about 45 minutes, and I was starting to get really tired. You know how sometimes you just suddenly become really tired out of nowhere? Well, yeah, that happened to me. I knew I wasn't going to last, but I didn't come across any place that I felt I could pack and safely sleep. Anyway, after it became clear to me that I wasn't going to find a place to pull up, my tiredness wasn't going to go away, I did something very questionable. I pulled over to the other side of the road onto the grass, behind some bushes to try and hide my car from anybody else who was going to come past the roads. I came across a car every few minutes or so. I made a mental note that the time was 11:22 and fell asleep. Sometime later, I was woken by a scratching sound outside. I looked at the clock, 11:50. The sound stopped after a few seconds, and because I was still extremely tired, I didn't bother looking around and went back to sleep. I was later awoken by the same sound. It was 12:40 now. This time it really freaked me out. The sound didn't stop. The thought came across my mind that it was just an animal inspecting the car, but wild it returned almost an hour later. I looked in my rear view mirror and just managed to catch a glimpse of something running away into the forest. Now at the time I thought it was the damn killer, you know? The one that scratched the couple's car and then slaughtered the guy when he got out to investigate? Nah, I'm not doing that, I thought myself. So I got the hell out of there. There was a bend no more than 100 yards of the road, and as I came around it, there was a car parked off to the side of the road. The driver's side door was opened. I slowed down just to look to see if anyone was in there. There wasn't anyone there. I looked in my rear view mirror, I didn't see anything, and all of a sudden, this guy comes sprinting around the corner. He started screaming at me, shouting stuff like, hey, you, get the hell out of your car now. Nope, and I got the hell out of there and sped off. I never saw the guy again. Moral of the story, don't never sleep on the side of a deserted road. My house sits farther back in the lot than most other houses. It is a strange layout, as well as the sidewalk runs the length of the living room and ends at the front porch, which lets into the living room. Large windows that do not open allow great light to get into the living room, but at the cost of no privacy. The rest of my family was on vacation, and having the house to myself, I decided to get drunk. Well, I passed out on the couch in the living room at about 9. This is when I realised I was too scared to walk back to my room. The couch is right underneath these big windows. I woke up suddenly, not knowing why. I had a severe case of the chills, and I could not figure out why. Then, the banging started. It came from right above me. I didn't move. I opened my eyes and looked up at the window. Someone was standing there, pounding on the glass. Without moving, I looked at the cable box. It was around about 3 in the morning. The banging continued, then it stopped suddenly. I still didn't move. Suddenly, it started again, coming from 2 different directions now. Someone or something is banging on my window, and another person is banging on the front door. They kept doing it. It wouldn't go away. Finally, after about 40 minutes, they quit. It was the most terrifying event I can recall. It made me such of a nervous wreck after that. I called a friend the next day to see if he would come over. His response was, Why? So that we can both be murdered in our sleep? Thanks a lot. A few years ago, I was walking through the woods, off the beaten track a bit. I smelt this really overpowering sweet smell. Being nosy, I pulled back the undergrowth to have a look. I found a dead body. The guy had clearly been there for a while and wasn't looking great. All swollen, green, and black with various runny bits. The local wildlife had also been dining well for a few days. I called the police. They told me to wait with the body until they arrived. Being in the middle of nowhere, it took a while for them to arrive, and it got dark. I was just there sitting with the dark with him for a long time. It turned out this poor soul had committed suicide. For a long time afterwards, I had dreams about him. He would talk to me and say not such nice things. He told me he was angry I disturbed his resting place, and he wanted me to kill myself. It may have just been my imagination, but it was really disturbing for me. He still turns up in my dreams from time to time, and no doubt he will show up tonight. When we first moved into the house I grew up in, I used to hear things call my name from the opposite end of the house. I would be in one room playing with my Legos or something, and I'd hear my dad call my name from his room. I'd go to my parents' bedroom and ask them what they wanted. They'd always tell me that they never call my name. Being a little kid, I honestly started to think they were playing a joke on me, because this happened about once every couple of days. Well, one night it happened, and I went to ask them what they wanted, like always. But right as I stepped into their room, I heard my mum's voice calling me from the living room, just all the way on the other side of the house. It was at that exact point I knew no one was tricking me, because I was looking at both of my parents sitting right in front of me. I kind of kept this to myself until my brother was diagnosed with partial narcolepsy. One of the symptoms of narcolepsy is apparently oral hallucinations. I thought maybe I had it too. I went and got myself checked, but I was completely fine. I have no idea what was calling my name all those years, and I still hear it at night whenever I come and visit and stay over. What's disturbing about this story is many others report the same things. One person commented saying, "This happened to me and my 3 sisters at our childhood home. My mum would yell very loud, and when she would yell, 'Girls,' we always came running. There were numerous occasions where we would all meet up in the same room because we heard ourselves being called to it, only to discover our mother was elsewhere or not even at home. I've also heard specific family members' footsteps walking up and down the stairs or above my head in any upstairs bedroom. The one incident that affected me the most was hearing my 18-month-old daughter fall from her crib with a painful thud and then run crying to my bedroom. Except when I went in there, she was still asleep." Leave a comment down below if you've ever happened to this ever happened to you, or you leave your thoughts. When I was in high school, I had a really good friend who lived next door. The house was always up for sale. People would move out in the middle of the night without a word, and it hadn't had the same owner for more than 6 months. One night we were really bored, and he suggested, "Why don't we go to explore the house next door?" Since it always had a sign for sale, we go around a bit, and there's a dog door that he can crawl through. He goes through and unlocks the door and lets me in. The house itself is really unremarkable. It looked like it was built maybe around the 1950s and was a craftsman styles house in an older, nicer part of town. The kitchen had a really nice built-in breakfast table set against a picture window. The house's electricity was off, but you could see the street light through the window. My friend and I sit down on the floor across from this table and are just hanging out talking. Why? Who knows? All of a sudden, my friend screams, and in that instant, my vision goes black. I couldn't see anything. My body was engulfed in the sticky coldness from head to toe. I started screaming. I felt my friend's hand grabbing mine, and I pulling in some direction forcefully. My vision slowly started to come back, and I started to warm up, when I realised that it was outside under the streetlight. It was December, and it should have been warmer inside of that house. Finally, I look at my friend, and he looks scared. I'm really confused and kind of panicked myself, and I finally ask him what happened. He says that I was talking, a black thing, this figure that was only black, and only had the vague shape of a girl, crawled out from under the table and sat on top of me. Apparently I started groping around with my eyes wide open. I couldn't see, and he was so freaked out that he pulled me out of the house. We're still friends, and we bring it up every often from now and then, but the story itself never changes, and it still sends chills down my spine. To this day, I've never felt such blackness or coldness in my life. It was almost sticky. For a couple of days afterwards, I couldn't shake this unsettling feeling, and I could never walk past this house again.